morning, kids. Wow, this is a different time of year. How's everybody? So it's Buddha bullying. As you can see, I'll move over a little bit. And that's my screenshot. So I'm really happy that everybody's here. So just to talk a little bit about Buddha bullying is located here in the Valley. You could reach us on our website, and also we're on all the social media platforms. And, our mission is really simple, is to eradicate bullying, intolerance, and discrimination by educating you kids and families and our community. And bullying is not cool. And not only have I been went through it, I have some guests today that will share their experiences. With us today is Jamie Miller. There is Jessica Collins, local high school, Palm Springs High School student, and Solange Signoret, another high school student, and also ambassadors from the organization. And we're just going to dive in. I'm going to let Jamie take over, introduce himself, and share his story.
Hey, what's up, guys? So my name is Jamie. I'm going to turn my iMessage off real quick so I don't think. So I'm Jamie. I'm 23 and I'm from the UK and I'm from a place called Cardiff in Wales. I grew up singing. I'm a singer now. I live in Los Angeles, and through elementary school, that's all I ever did was sing and dance. And I traveled the world with singing and dancing with my parents and all throughout elementary school. And then when I got to high school is when I first really started to experience that not everybody was the kindest about a guy wanting to sing and dance. So I used to go into school and I used to post videos on YouTube like people do nowadays to try and get out there and try and get their faces known. And I used to go into school and people used to not be so nice. And I remember all my friends were like rugby kids and football kids. And I guess back then, it's kind of different now, I guess, in America and in the UK. But if you were a boy and you wanted to sing, but back when I was in high school, it wasn't cool at all. And you either got called girly or you got, like, I don't know. It's just one of those things where people weren't so kind. And for me, it was a time where I just didn't want to go to school. I used to put the hairdryer on my face. And I used to pretend to my mama that I used to have a temperature just so I didn't have to go to school. And I used to try like escape it, but I was never going to escape it if I didn't bring light to the situation. And then I feel like one thing people are really scared to do nowadays is to tell a teacher or to tell a friend to try and help you get through it. You almost try and just keep it quiet and get through it yourself. And for me, it was like a really dark time just because I was getting bullied for something that I love to do, and there was no escape. But it's funny because I feel like once you get bullied, you actually understand that people are not doing it because they dislike you. They're doing it because they're insecure about themselves. And all I wanted to do was fit in. I wanted to fit in, but then I was like, why do I want to fit in with these people who are just so small-minded? Like, why do I want to be a part of this? I don't know. It's one of those situations where I feel like bullying is a form of someone just being so upset with themselves. And for me, it was a really dark time, but I feel like I got through it because I had such a strong support system around me. My family were amazing. I had a really good group of friends, but it never really stopped throughout high school. And then I remember when I left school, instead of going to college, I went into a normal job. I worked in a call center. So if you had a problem with your iPhones, I was the guy on the end of the phone helping you out with your iPhone problems. And then I really remembered sitting at my desk, being in a job that I wasn't happy with. And I was just like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to let people's words that happened to me in school, like, create the narrative for my life. So I actually auditioned for a TV show. Called The Voice. And I went on The Voice, and I actually ended up coming third on The Voice in the UK. And it was funny because I was so happy. I had this platform all of a sudden, and I was like, okay, I'm going to make it. But then you think the bullying's going to stop there. And It really doesn't. This is where cyberbullying came into context. So actually, I don't know if you guys have heard of the Kardashians, but Khloe Kardashian found me after I was on The Voice, and she said that I was a new favorite singer. And so then after she posted about me and said that I was a new favorite singer, I actually signed a record deal with an American company called Atlantic Records. So from a normal boy living a normal life with a normal family, the next day I was on a flight to New York City, and my life kind of changed overnight. I went from working in a call center to being on first class, flying to New York, signing this incredible record deal. And in my head, it was something that I couldn't really process. And you always think people are always going to be nice behind their phones. Like this thing we have in our phone and in my hand holds so much power. And I feel like people don't understand that words can almost hurt just as anything else in person. And I feel like once you have a presence online, people think that you are not human. They think you're a superhero, that words don't hurt. But I'm a person who has hundreds of thousands of followers, but I still look at comments, and I feel like it's just one of those things where we're human, so we're going to want to naturally gravitate to what people are saying to us online. So even after all these amazing things happened to me, like, I mean, I signed a big record deal. The Kardashians found out who I was. I was like, whoa, but bullying doesn't really stop there. Like I looked on my phone, like on the, like one of the most important days of my life, and then people were just leaving these comments, like, and it still goes on. I still, like, I go on, like, you guys have heard of TikTok. Like, I've gone viral on TikTok, and I go to the comments, and people are so nice. There's so many amazing comments, but that one comment, it gets to you, and I don't know why. Like, people, you'll have thousands and thousands of nice comments, but the minute you see a bad one, it just triggers something in your brain to think, oh, what can I do to change that person's mind? Or I don't know. I feel like, and it's something nowadays that still goes on. Like this, I was in school 6 to 7 years ago, and I remember feeling so low. But then I have cousins and I have nieces, nephews, and it's just one of those things that still goes on. But I feel like one thing for me, I was able to get out of it because I had such a strong support system, and realizing I didn't want to fit in with the kids that weren't so kind. I wanted to stand out. I had something to give to the world. I wanted to share my talent and not be held back by someone's narrow, like, small mind. And I don't know. I think it's very important to, like, not get locked in on people's nasty words, because I feel like once you realize that they're only doing it as an escape mechanism, they're trying to put all their insecurities on you. I feel like that's one thing that helped me to keep going and to help me realize that it was worth it. You know, should I keep going?
No, so what do you do, Jamie, with dealing with the cyberbullying yourself?
For
When
myself,
you see it, and obviously it affects you.
yeah, I think if someone says it doesn't affect them, they're lying in some sense. For me, it was a thing on Instagram. Now you can filter out negative comments. So for me, like, I go to Instagram, I go to settings, and I'm like, anything negative, like, I type in certain words just so they won't pop up on my feed. And I feel like for my own sanity, it's really important just to, like, not dive in. And I don't really tend to look at comments all that much, just because I feel like I know in myself I'm a very sensitive person, so I tend not to look at the comments. But there's small ways for me that even just speaking to my family and having, like I said, having a strong support system is really important, just to be able to speak to someone and have that outlet, you know.
I agree. Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. And then another question for you is, what's something in your life right now that brings you joy and great sense of joy?
For me, I've finished my album right now, so I'm actually releasing music. And I feel like people think, yeah, but what do you do except from music? But I really don't do anything.
But that's your passion, and
Yeah.
honestly, that's what your job is. I mean, you said you went from a salesperson to pursuing your passion, and there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. And I'm sure a lot of the kids, I know Solange is in the theatricals and musician. she's interested in that, and I'm sure other kids too. So I think it's nice to see someone that believes in themselves where it could land you, and not listening to the negative voices that
Yeah.
come.
Yeah, especially I feel like some people try to create the narrative for you when you're younger, you know, and I feel like especially if you grew up in a like a low income household or a small hometown, and people like, or if you're from this hometown, this is where you're gonna go, or if you don't have money growing up, you're never gonna be this successful. And for me, I just never let anybody create that narrative for me. I may have let it affect me back then, but I was like, going forward, like, you create your own narrative and you create your own happiness. So it's how you deal with it and how you surround yourself with the right people to achieve your dreams.
Very well said. And what would you, so if you saw someone, what would you say to something, if what would you say to someone if they saw bullying? What would they just, what can they do? What would they, if someone saw bullying happening, whether it's cyberbullying, obviously now, or in person, what do you advise, and you advise them?
Well, if I was to see it in person, I would definitely be able to tell them to like tell a friend, if they, because obviously there's, you have to go around it in a certain way, and obviously in school it's pretty hard. But I feel like telling a teacher, like, people are like, oh, you're gonna be a snitch, but like, being a snitch is so much better than going through what people class as hell. There's so many people that go through so many detrimental things to their health, and telling a teacher could have saved that from them, you know? So I feel like just making sure that you're supporting them, and like telling them that they got a friend in you, or just speaking to a teacher is so important. And if it's online, delete the comment, or like, just like, give them a message and be like, yo, like, this is just not what like human beings should be like. I feel like once you're in school, it's almost cool to make fun of someone. Like, I don't understand the joy in that, and I'll never understand the joy in that. Like, it takes 2 minutes just to make someone's day by saying, how are you, or giving them a smile. So
Very true.
I just do that.
And one last question, before we open it up to a couple of questions maybe the kids have. What would you say to your own self back in middle school now?
Yeah, I would say, I would say, knowing where I am now, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for not giving up. I'm proud of you for not wanting to fit in and wanting to stand out. And I'm proud of you for that you kept on going, because if I didn't, I wouldn't be here where I am today. So I'm proud of you, James.
We're proud of you too, Jamie. Thank you so much for sharing.